Welcome to Polyrhythm Music LLC's weekly podcast. I'm your host, David Van Dyke, and this week I want to get into the real-life Game of Thrones going on in metal music. So let's start with, a couple weeks ago, Jay Weinberg was released from Slipknot. And so the internet kind of lost its mind because there's varying reports. Some of Jay's former bands say he's not that great of a guy to live with. Others, the fans seem to think he's great. But he was released out of nowhere. So Slipknot loses this guy. So that's step one. And if you don't know who Slipknot is, we'll start with this is Slipknot. But I assume everybody knows who this is. So this band they fire this drummer. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh my god, he's so good. And he is, but real life drumming in a big band like that is more than just being good. Like, you've got to be able to write, but you've also got to be able to get along in the corporate sense. I would be interested to see if Jay was ever really a full member, or if he was more of a hired gun. That would be really interesting. I know that, I believe it was a couple years ago, it was mentioned in an article that he writes some of the drum parts, but of course they have to go through Clown and crew to get them approved. So, when Jay was released, Slipknot put out a statement saying that they were going in a different direction. A lot of bands do that. That's the nature of the beast. But it seems that we now know what direction they're going. And wow, what a direction. So, Sepultura is another metal band. They go way back. They are a legend in the industry. Here's a little Sepultura for you. But Elroy Casagrande, has been their drummer and touring with them for a while now. And it seems right before Sepultura was getting ready to go on their final tour, their career-ending tour, suddenly, like 2 days before, Elroy Casagrande quits. Just suddenly leaves. And word on the street is he's doing that because he's going to Slipknot. Which would make sense. He's covered Slipknot on his YouTube page. He has an amazing cover of Heretic Anthem, I believe it is. Dude's just insane. And forgive the airplanes. It's an airport nearby. Makes recording fun. But we're going to go with it. So, right before they leave for tour, he quits. Which is not the best move. Normally you wouldn't do that unless there was a medical issue or something with your family. But you don't just up and quit right before tour, because now Sepultura has to find a drummer to come in and fill a slot to play an hour show. And they've got to be able to play the whole thing, and they got 2 days to learn the set, travel to meet up with the band, rehearse, you would hope, if you've got time. Otherwise, you're trying to find time to do it. But he leaves. And now we are hearing that he's going to Slipknot. Which, great for Slipknot. But the interesting thing, I thought, that didn't surprise me. There's a world famous drummer now. He's blown up. L.S. DePario, who a lot of people thought was going to Slipknot. But he wasn't. He has a new band, which they're great. They just released a new single that's awesome. But he kind of called this. He was the first person that I know of. A lot of people speculated, but he was the first one that I saw that did a video that just outright said, like, this is who they're going with. I guarantee it, and this is who they should go with. And he's right. So Jay's out, and we get El Rey Esperanza. Much better sound, powerful. He plays with a great intensity. Jay is fine, and he fits in well, but not like this. This is power. This is real intensity. If he's coming into the band and they allow him to write and some free reign, they're going to go to another level. I mean, they're going to break the stratosphere on this. So, where does that leave Sepultura? Well, this is what I was started to say. This is where it becomes interesting, because he quits 2-3 days before tour starts. And then on Instagram, we get the release from Sepultura that Grayson Recruitman, he's known as he became known as kind of like a jazz phenomenon. He's young kid. And I don't mean that with any disrespect, because he's amazing. Here's a little Grayson. Imagine the Buddy Rich famous solo, note for note. Grayson Recruitman's going to Sepultura. And it's unfortunate because he's just covering for the tour, for their final farewell tour. I would really like to, maybe there'll be an album behind it. That'd be great. I would like to see him write. He's been covering for Suicidal Tendencies, I believe. Is that right? I think so. Let's check. I don't want to... And I know you're not supposed to do this stuff when you're in the middle of recording and live on the thing, but I don't care. We're all family here. I'm almost... Suicidal Tendencies. Grayson's been covering percussion and drums for them on tour for a while. So Sepultura kind of wins big as well, because they lose an amazing, phenomenal drummer, but they also get an amazing, phenomenal drummer. And I assure you, Grayson Recruitman can fill this gig no problem. This won't be an issue at all. So it leaves Jay Weinberg out, but Jay, having spent the amount of time in Slipknot he has, there will be something. He'll come along with something, that's for sure. But man, what a weird twist that within the past month we've had this Game of Thrones type scenario play out where people are moving around and it all kind of worked out, but it seemed like it could have been done a little better. And by that I mean 2 days before tour, kind of, that's kind of shitty. And I know Grayson just come off tour, so there's that as well. But in the end, man, this is good for metal all the way around. Metal lives and dies off of their drummer. And if you think I'm wrong, leave it in the comments. But if you don't have a killer drummer, you're in trouble right off the bat. And both of these bands are going to end up with amazing drummers. I'm dying to see what Slipknot's going to do. If, in fact, Elroy is going there. I don't know. I haven't seen an official release. There may have been one and I missed it. I'm not following Slipknot, every minute of the day. To be honest, when Jay came in, I kind of lost interest a little. I feel like Jay's not great at writing. I feel like he could have written better parts. That was a highlight of Joey. Joey Jordison was their original drummer. For those that don't know, he was one of the founding members of the band. Even though now they say he wasn't because it's a big corporate gig now. And they had a falling out, and now he's dead, and that sucks. But Joey wrote very interesting parts. He was a great writing drummer. And I'm interested to see. I know Elroy can write, and he can play anything. So I'm interested to see if we get back to a return to that. I felt like Jay was very straightforward and everything. A lot of blast beats. Basic fills, not very creative in his writing. But at the same time, I take nothing away from him. He's a fabulous drummer, but I don't know that Slipknot's the gig. But for Elroy, and with Sepultura ending, this is the move. And then Grayson has become the fill-in guy. But I would love to see him lock in with a band. I'd love to see him. What would be interesting is if Grayson Recruitment ended up with Chimera. I think that'd be an interesting thing. Chimera's always, they had a great drummer, but, he was in it, 1 foot in, 1 foot out all the time. They dealt with a lot of that. It would be interesting to see Grayson Recruitment with like a Chimera and be there full time and write with them. I think he could do something. Look, if you're not keeping your eyes on Grayson, you're missing out because he's doing big things. This guy is on the rise, and he should be. He's earned it. He's a phenom, but he has a love for metal, which is awesome. We need more people like that. We need more of you see him in a suit and tie here, but at the same time, he's a metal guy, and metal needs more of that. So it'll be interesting to see what the next couple months hold. I'm very interested to see if Slipknot's going into the studio, what they're doing. I know they have some club shows planned for a little celebration of whatever anniversary it is for them. So I would be curious to see if they're in the studio now, if they're going in the studio, and this is, in fact, the truth, that Elroy is going there. Be very interesting to hear them and what they come up with, but I bet will be amazing. You're getting ready to hear a new sound of Slipknot. You're getting ready to hear a return to the aggression, in my opinion. But what do you think? What do you think about this real-life Game of Thrones that's happened over the past month with drummers and metal bands? Are you happy about this change? If in fact this is the case, are you happy, or do you hate it? Do you wish Jay would come back? That some people love Jay, and Jay's fine. Again, I have nothing against Jay, so if you're down for Jay, that's cool too. But I would love to hear what you think. So post it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Are you happy with this change? Do you wish it would have been Ellis Tapario that would have went? Are you excited to see Grayson filling in for Sepultura? Let's have a discussion on metal drummers in the Game of Thrones world that we live in right now, in the metal world. Metal's in a building phase right now. You know, Sleep Token's kind of dragging us along. They recently signed to RCA. Congratulations to them. Two cleaned up a bunch at the Drumeo Awards. 100% deserved. But metal's in a building phase right now. And it's getting interesting with moves like this. You can see that these bands are committed to dialing it back up. So, yeah, it should be an interesting next year. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Swing by all of our socials, Polyrhythm Music LLC. Make sure you get the LLC in. Keep an eye on our YouTube page. We've got more coming, and I will be back next week with more. Thanks for tuning in.